They told me this job would be easy, just a quiet night run, a few sealed crates, and a handful of passengers who prefer to keep their names to themselves. But the moment I saw their faces on the pier, I knew I should have walked away. And if you listen to this until the end, you'll understand why I still wake up at night with the taste of salt and iron on my tongue, and why I'll never again trust the kind of people who travel without luggage. I've been a pirate for most of my life, though no one calls it that out loud. Privateer, smuggler, freelance sailor. Dress it how you want. It's all the same once you've spilled enough rum and blood in the same week. By the time I reached 50, I wasn't chasing gold anymore. I was chasing quiet. Jobs that didn't end with half the crew overboard. Jobs where the sea was the only thing that growled at you. So when the man called Burke approached me in Port Royal, offering good coin for a discreet transport along the eastern Caribbean coast, I didn't ask too many questions. The less you know, the longer you live. Or so I thought. Burke's cargo arrived just before midnight. 4 heavy crates, iron-banded, no markings, and 5 passengers, 4 men and 1 woman, all dressed too clean for a smuggling run. No warm greetings, no chatter. They stood apart from each other like strangers forced into the same room. Their eyes moved, but their faces didn't. I felt something cold slip down my spine, like the sea itself whispered, "Not this time." Still, money was money. We set sail on a moonless night, the kind where the ocean looks like a slab of black stone and the horizon melts into nothing. My crew, seasoned as they were, kept glancing at the passengers in the dim lantern glow. The passengers didn't speak, didn't smoke, didn't drink. They just sat on the deck or leaned on the rails, eyes fixed somewhere far beyond the water. 3 hours into the journey, we hit our first oddity. The woman, slender, pale, with dark gloves she never removed, approached me quietly. "Captain," she said, her voice steady but low. "I'd appreciate if no one touches the crates. They're fragile." "Is that all?" I asked. "Yes," she said, but her eyes flicked toward the other men, like she was measuring their distance. "For your own safety, Captain, it would be better if they remained sealed." It wasn't a threat, not exactly, but it felt like one. I told my first mate, Rowan, to double the night watch on the cargo. He raised an eyebrow. He'd been with me for 20 years, long enough to smell trouble, but he didn't argue. The sea was calm for a while, a gentle lull, the kind that almost lets you believe nothing is wrong. But the calm never lasts. Just before dawn, one of the passengers started shouting. I found him near the stern, breath ragged, sweat dripping down his collar despite the cool air. He kept muttering the same phrase. "We shouldn't have taken her, we shouldn't have brought her." His gaze was fixed on the crates. I tried to get a straight answer out of him, but he pushed me away and stumbled below deck. The others pretended not to notice, though the woman's jaw tightened. Something was cracking among them, some secret agreement they were now regretting. Around midday, Rowan came to me with a stiff expression. "Captain," he said quietly, "those crates, they are leaking." My stomach pulled tight. We went below deck. Sure enough, a thin trickle of dark liquid, almost black but with a reddish tint, was oozing from the seams of one of the crates. It smelled faintly metallic but also wrong, like meat left too long in the sun. Before I could say a word, the woman appeared behind us. "Step away from the cargo," she said sharply. "Now!" Rowan bristled. "Ma'am, your crates are bleeding." She paused. "No, they're not." I stared at her. "Then maybe you should open one and check." "Opening them," she replied, voice lowering to a quiet tremor, "would doom us all." That's when I realized something. She was afraid. Not of us, not of the sea, but of whatever was in those crates. And fear like that doesn't come cheap. The tension on board thickened like wet rope. My crew whispered in corners. The passengers avoided each other, and the woman shadowed the crates as if guarding a sick child. Every time the ship groaned against the waves, it echoed like a warning. By sunset, the passenger who'd panicked earlier had vanished. We searched the ship twice. He wasn't below deck. He wasn't in the hold. He wasn't anywhere. But the portside lifeboat rope was cut clean through. Jumping into open water at dusk. Madness. Suicide. Unless someone helped him disappear. That night, Rowan confronted the remaining passengers. He wasn't the calm sort when he felt cornered, and he demanded to know what we were carrying. The tallest man, broad-shouldered with a scar down his neck, finally snapped. "It's not your business." Rowan stepped forward. "When a man jumps ship and cargo leaks like blood, it becomes my business." The scar man reached for something under his coat, but the woman grabbed his wrist, hard enough to make him wince. "Stop," she said. "Enough of this." She looked at me. "Captain, we didn't hire you for a transport." "Not really. We hired you because no one in these waters can outrun you. And we were being followed." "Followed? By who?" She hesitated. "A man we wronged. A man with money, ships, and a long memory." That clarified nothing. Then she added, "He wants what's in the crates. And he wants us dead." The ship lurched suddenly, as if struck. A thud against the hull, too heavy to be driftwood. Then another. Rowan and I rushed to the deck. Lanterns swung wildly as shadows moved along the waterline. Longboats, at least 3. Men inside rowing in silence. A boarding attempt. The woman was right. Someone had followed. My crew scrambled, grabbing pistols and blades, hearts hammering. I yelled orders, but the night swallowed half my words. The longboats closed in, hooks scraping the hull. The first attacker climbed aboard. Mast quick, almost graceful. Rowan fired. The man fell. Another climbed up. Chaos erupted. Through the smoke and shouting, I saw the scarred passengers sprint below deck toward the crates. Not away from danger, toward it. The woman chased after him, shouting something I couldn't hear. Gunshots cracked. Steel clashed. The deck shook under the weight of bodies hitting wood. But all I cared about was what was happening with that cargo. I forced my way below. The hatch was splintered. Inside, lanterns lay shattered on the floor. The hold flickered with small flames catching on spilled oil. The scarred man stood over the crates, crowbar in hand, eyes wide with desperation. "We should have given them what they wanted," he muttered. "We should have handed it over." The woman lunged at him. "If you open it." He swung the crowbar at her. She dodged. Barely. Rowan burst in behind me. "Captain," fire spreading. Too late. With a sickening crack, the scarred man pried open the lid of the first crate. Inside wasn't treasure. It was a man, or what used to be one. Bound, gagged, bruised, barely breathing but alive. Human cargo. That's what they were smuggling. Not gold. Not opium. People. My stomach twisted. I'd done many questionable things in my life, but this was a line I never crossed. The woman pushed past me and slammed the lid shut, fury trembling through her. "You idiot," she screamed at the scar man. "If they know he's alive, they'll kill all of us." Suddenly everything clicked. The silent passengers were not partners. They were kidnappers. The crates were prisoners. And the man hunting them wasn't a villain. He was trying to save them. The moral floor of the world slipped out from under me. Above us, I heard more shouting, more thuds. My crew was losing ground. The fire crept along the beams. The woman turned to me, breath shaking. "Captain, you can still save your men, but you need to choose now." "Choose what?" I asked, though deep down I already knew. "Help us deliver the cargo," she said, voice cold again, "or die with the truth." I looked at Rowan. He stared back with a question burning in his eyes. "Are we really going to be part of this?" The woman raised her pistol. That answered it. Rowan lunged first, tackling her against the crates. The gun went off, splintering wood beside my head. I grabbed the crowbar and swung it toward the scarred man as he reached for another crate. He fell hard, breath knocked out of him. The fire roared louder. Smoke choked the air. I pulled Rowan up. "We're ending this." We dragged the gagged prisoner from the crate, tearing off the ropes. He collapsed but nodded gratefully. Another crate shook. Someone else was inside, pounding weakly. But above us, the ship groaned. The attackers had breached fully. My men were fighting for their lives. We had seconds, maybe less. Rowan shouted, "Captain, we can't save everyone." He was right. 3 prisoners. A burning hold. Boarders everywhere. The woman coughed on the floor, reaching for her pistol again, rage twisting her face. "You don't understand," she rasped. "If they get him, everything falls apart." "I'm counting on it," I said. I grabbed the nearest lantern and hurled it at the remaining crates. The fire exploded upward. The woman screamed. The scarred man tried to shield the crates with his body, but flames devoured everything. Rowan and I lifted the one prisoner we could save and hauled him up the stairs, choking on smoke, stumbling through heat that felt like the breath of hell. When we burst onto the deck, chaos ruled. Attackers and my crew clashed in a storm of desperation. But when the leader of the attackers saw the prisoner, alive, he froze. His hard expression cracked into grief, then fury, then something painfully human. "It's him," he whispered. Then he looked at me. Really looked. "You're not with them." "No," I said. "Not anymore." What happened next was fast, brutal, and strangely simple. My crew, battered and burned, joined forces with the attackers. The kidnappers, the woman, the scar man, the rest were subdued or killed. The fire consumed the lower deck, but we contained it before it took the ship. By dawn, the sea was quiet again. The rescued man sat wrapped in a blanket near the bow. He could hardly speak, but he tried to thank me. I told him not to, because the truth is, I didn't save him out of heroism. I saved him because for the first time in my life, I'd been given a choice between the man I'd been and the man I could have been if I hadn't wasted so many years on the wrong side of a pistol. The attackers were not pirates. They were his people. Family, in a way. They took a back at sunrise. They offered payment. I refused. Coin loses meaning after a night like that. When they sailed away, Rowan stood beside me, quiet. "Captain," he said, "we did the right thing." "Maybe," I replied, "but the sea doesn't care." He sighed. "What now? Now?" I looked at the charred hatch, at the scorch marks, at the black trail where the crates once Saturday. Now we stopped carrying cargo that breathes. But even as I said it, I felt the woman's final words echo inside me. If they get him, everything falls apart. I never learned what she meant. I'm not sure I want to. Some truths aren't meant to be hauled across water. Some are meant to sink and stay sunk. And whenever a ship approaches me at night without lanterns, whenever I see a longboat gliding quietly across still water, I remember those crates, the metallic smell, the look in the rescued man's eyes. And I remember that sometimes the worst monsters on the sea aren't the pirates. They're the people who pay us,